Welcome back. I think now we're live. I think we're live. I think we're live. Want to stream early on weekends. I always tend to stream early. We'll do a market overview first. Reminder to join the Telegram for meaningful updates on the market. This is my personal address, which honestly, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I think there is a world where I'm just not gonna trade on this anymore. I don't know. I think because obviously this address has a great P&L history. I think close to 1 million. And the issue I have is on the 100K to 1 million challenge. If no one cares about what I say and just copy the address, that's not good. But it's also proving my legitimacy as a quote unquote trader. But anyway, I want to say join our Telegram if you if you're not there, you're definitely missing out on some items. Well, specifically because for this one specifically, this trade I did not book it on the 100K to 1 million. Honestly, I could have, probably should have. If we see price action move my way. But I'm not naked long, so I'm like hedging up some shorts. So here what's a bit misleading is the hype position. I'm delta neutral there. But the Tau short is full on short. So I'm basically on this account like full X delta. So I have 3x delta. I have 3x more long exposure than short exposure. And I wanted to give the rationale for this. And again, that's posted live on Telegram. You can just go to 𝘪𝑐𝗍𝗍 and the reason for it is, one, I think on last stream we said we were short, but last stream was Saturday morning, and what happened there is 24 hours, and I think the tipping point was probably last night, and my invitation for shorting BTC was when I did close the short. I closed for I closed for like $1,000, so like really just break even on this trade. And you have to be able to flip bias and like flip opinions quickly, because for example, if I think my short would have been underwater now, and like for example, I'm up like 3K, which is position size is 600K, so 3K up is nothing, because I'm willing to risk more than 3K on this trade, specifically 5K on this trade. Like for the purpose of this account, which is roughly 5% of the account size. Anyway, the reason for going long here is Trump always acts. One is you've had. Sorry, I have trouble explaining my thoughts today, but you have you have the S&P that closed at 2% down. Big seller VIX is also high, so we're playing very risky games here. But what I'm saying is, it seems like on Friday everyone was expecting things to be pretty bad for the weekend. I think a lot of people were talking about ground invasions. And I think you have a very temporary relief because essentially nothing happened. Nothing happened this weekend, and I'd be essentially wrong if we revisit the laws here on the basis that nothing happens. That would be a sign that the market is very bad, and by all means, just what I said on Telegram is you need to run if that happens, because that would be telling you we're going much lower than 65K, which is, to me, opening the door to 60 or below 60, which isn't good. And the thing I have in mind is, in terms of TP, I don't have. So my view is that you have a lot of people that hedged on the way there. Like on the way there, people were fully hedged, just like people were hedged here. Same pattern. People are hedged, and then big reversal, and then their hedge or their shorts just come off. So to me, I'm more interested. I think that because nothing happened this weekend, and we're too close to CME, so Chicago Mercantile Exchange, I think we're bound to clean up some of that positioning. And I'm not full on long. I think I'm still keeping up the shorts, but I have more delta, so that means my bias overall is, what I basically want is across the accounts add more margin through a positive long to be able to hold the shorts for longer, because my view remains that both 𝘬 and 𝗲 are overpriced on the medium term. Reason for 𝘬 is what is really 𝘬 doing? I know it's a good. I know. Well, actually, I know what 𝘬 does, which is ability to orchestrate the training of open source AI models, which I think is very valuable. The issue I have is it's up 2.5x in a bear market, and in a bear markets, assets tend to mean revert. 𝗲 had the same thesis, honestly just proven wrong so far. On 𝗲, I'm like short, like it's a bit of a weird setup, but I have some spot 𝗲 which I hedged, but net I'm still short. And we are short 𝗲 on the challenge from 27 or so. But 𝗲 is that. Yeah, maybe I have to revisit this thesis, but I still do think that next quarter or so it's bound to go lower. So that's I would say this is a very low time frame trade, and people ask me what's my TP. I would say ideal trade plays out like this. Plays out like, wait, sorry. I mean, I would even take this low as an invalidation. We have CME there, but I do think, given the circumstances, there is little reason to revisit the CME. I see, I monitor live, but that's basically the trade I have in mind is is it's I don't really like. I think we can push and clean that positioning, but the long target is going to be if we have a very big unwind OI by 68, 69, I'd cut the long. I don't function as technical analysis so much, so like the targets my target for flipping long bias medium time frame would be if we take out 72, and I don't think we'll take out 72 on this. So ideally I cut this at 70. Ideally I cut this at 70 and then wait a bit from 70 to 72 and then purely be net short. So just take the BTC hedge off and then eventually flip short on a loss of 70. That's the mental framework I have. And honestly, if I'm wrong on this trade, like if BTC finding new lows when you had no meaningful weekend escalation, that is probably bad, like really bad. And that's why I sort of like to have hedges on, because if 65K does not hold, then that means the market is bound for much lower. Well, much lower as in really range lows. And look at 60, 61, even 58. And I would have my hedge off, like my BTC long, because I'm by default short. So I would have my hedge off, and then I would still have the shorts going until 60, 61, 62, and then eventually take profit on the positions, and then being able to flip long whenever I want. But I think being default short on the assets you believe will outbid overpriced on a bear market, and then adding edges is a great way to, at least as a swing trader, I'm not doing scalps so much. I'm using, and especially in the current environment where it's just hard to, very range bound, I like to have some edges. The BCH long we had yesterday, I've cut this at 480. And I have definitely less conviction in BCH than I do on BTC. And I think we took home probably 8K from this account, which wasn't, you can make the math here, but I think it's like 8K or 9K or 10K on this account, which I guess which isn't too bad. I think overall I took home probably 6-figure on this trade, which is good for, in hindsight, it was probably was honestly a mistake, I think. I don't know what went on my mind to go long BCH in a bear market. So maybe I took this as a L, like as a loss mentally, because when you have little conviction on the trade, you should not take it. And I've taken that trade, and to me that was a mistake. Anyway, so we're long into the open, expecting some mean reversion on the back of just nothing happens, and then invalidation is perfect, because if we seek lower, then that means if even on the back of no escalation on the weekend where everyone was expecting for the worst and nothing happens, then we are omega cooked. That's what you can keep in mind. And so 65K, and then you go for much lower. And if that were to happen, I keep my my core positions up, which is net short, and then I just wait for a reclaim on the full hours to then flip long. Eventually I'll just do nothing and just keep my positions. All right, now the other channels were booked at 186. That position that we have at the moment, like the hype is less than, we're like 0.8x levered. Basically, it's not going to do anything to our positioning. Also, if some of you are here, would love some support on YouTube. All of those sessions are available on YouTube after the recording. And would love if you have would love that you comment or give feedback or whatever on the streams. That's really helpful. On the transparency side and traction on the product, which is honestly the most exciting stuff, so that dashboard is live. It's been live for some time now, and we've crossed the 1,000 active traders, which is a great milestone. 1,000 people. The purpose of the free trial was to make sure that our infrastructure is solid, works because there's a big difference between having a tech that works locally, then 100 users, 1,000 users, 10,000, 100,000. And we did this free trial because we wanted to have, so here just quickly, it's 100, and we have like 3,884 and 44 traders across 90 countries. But if you look at only here, it's only the free trial participants that we've added. We don't count the signups. I think that's irrelevant. Obviously, it would look better, but that's really irrelevant. And we've got 4,600 people on the wait list, which is cool to see. The free trial was important because that's enabling us to have 1,000 people. I think we'll get to about 2K next week. And it's less about the load, but more about understanding the architecture decisions that we've taken on the infrastructure, and to understand, okay, can we support 2K people, 10K concurrent users? And the infrastructure has been handling it very well so far. We had some very minor DB issues which were due to some transactions being locked, but that's been fixed. And so far, just latencies, everything's just doing all good on AWS. So it seems like the architecture decisions that we've taken have been good so far. And we have little to worry about DevOps. We know we have little to worry about DevOps until 10,000 daily active users, which is insane, by the way, for a prop firm, and we don't expect to get there before 6 months or so. So it's a good stuff. In terms of stats that are good to highlight, what I wanted to do, and I add notes as a to-do, but I wanted to do. What's very interesting is we have the net positioning, and we know majority of people are long now. And I wanted to have this with and take BTC as a reference point, and to know if our traders are long 6 hours before or like 6 or 12 hours or the day before, what's the forward performance of BTC, and is there any edge to be found there in the aggregate positioning? Our traders were, had a positive P&L yesterday, and they also have a positive P&L today. The free trial lifespan is less than half a day. Asset listing hasn't changed. What we did add yesterday, and I messed up the beta environment quite badly, so I have to fix that with high priority today. By trying to implement those limit orders. Wait, I'm short on this. We have draggable limit orders now. Wait, what did I do there? Ah, okay, sorry. So now you can drag around your limit orders like this. And I've messed up some parts, so like it's something that's fairly complex, but I'm gonna try and troubleshoot beta. So just so you know, we have local, which is where you just develop the stuff, and then you have beta, and then you have prod. Beta is where we have a QA team, roughly 100 people that on and off just try and use the platform, and we push things quite frequently to beta, and then when they're good on beta, we do a release probably just every day. More recently we've done more, but usually just once a day, give or take. What we did add yesterday is the P&L card. Now you can have it just looks much nicer, and we had some display issues. We've also added the ticker or the image, which is called draggable stop loss is live, well, soon to be live. Just checking now. We've removed the notification bell. Before the notification panel, you used to have all trade confirmations. We've smoked that, so now it's only, it's everything less this. We've I think the older confirmation was a bit overkill, so we've removed that, and that's pretty much it. I honestly don't have so much. We haven't been so much on the tech yesterday. I've been more on the growth. Today we wanna. So priority for this week next week is going to be. Next week we want to have our first funded traders. That means priority goes towards creating the wait, like the wait list as much as possible. Send out the first emails to the folks that qualify. And we're like, for the wait list we have, let me check what we've implemented. We have a score. Okay, I'm not sure I see it. Okay, I'm not sure I can find it, but yeah, normally we have like this score that's telling us about, one is geography. Realistically, we know we have a bunch of farmers in the free trial. Probably at least 50% of the trial participants are people that just use that in hope of getting money. And my number one metric is conversion to waitlist. So how likely is it that you're gonna purchase a challenge? That's key for us, because otherwise that means our waitlist is pretty much useless. So we look at geography, we look at activity on the platform, the pass rate. So if you've not pass rate, but if you've passed the challenge, we want to invite you. If you've connected if you've created a referral link on the platform, we want to invite you. Basically look at some user actions. And from that, we derive a score. And that score tells us how, basically the trust score within our own ecosystem. And we want to invite you, and that's going to start next week, which is an exciting time because we've made no money so far. We've made no money so far, which is, I guess, the purpose of the free trial. But it's going to start next week, and it's a big moment. I think it's a bit stressful because you can't have anything go wrong. You have to make sure everything's just dialed in. But it's I guess it's why we're doing it, and we will do it with friends, people that we know, like 10 people initially for the first few days. We make sure we get the feedback, we fix that with high priority, and then that's how it's gonna go. And I think from now to full platform go live, we're probably looking at next Tuesday, not Tuesday the 1st, but Tuesday 7th is probably the time where we want to go live fully, so anyone can purchase an account. We will add some restrictions on account purchases initially, like just one account. One challenge per person. And yeah, that's gonna be the priority for next week, is making sure we welcome our first few folks on the platform that pay for the experience, and then we just make sure the experience is great, and that's pretty much a priority. And so that means our website needs to be a lot more customer facing. That means today my priority is finishing this FAQ, and today I haven't put so much work into it. We've had some questions about the trading terminal, so this morning, pretty much in bed, I did this stuff. The trading terminal, we do have some questions about how we do things, about slippage and all. And again, these are things that I really, really want to have, because a lot of prop firms, they trade against you, and full transparency, like if anyone were to ask, I'm literally prompting against, again, I'll show you, but the way I came up with those answers is nothing more than basically, I had a community question. So this is our code base, like the whole code base, the proper mono repo. And I've asked this question that came from the community: does the proper order book mimic the actual order book from 𝘖𝗎𝗠𝗪𝗏? That's a question I got from Discord, and I wanted to show you that this is the output of Cloud Code against the current code base, and that's the output that we have. And then the question and the answers that I've derived from this are exactly matching this. And for the context, we use a 𝘓𝘪𝘐 algorithm to match the order book, which is how everything works in exchange matching. And that's basically nothing much to say. We don't, like, if you trade on our platform, you trade just like you would on 𝘖𝗎𝗠𝗪𝗏. The fields are the same, the slippage is the same. Everything is basically the same, except that you don't get fields on the 𝘖𝗎𝗠𝗪𝗏 on hypercore, but you get field internally. And otherwise it's just the same. So you can just look at, if anyone argues, hey, how can we trust you? That's a way in which you can trust us on. It's basically just, that's basically what our code does. It can't be any clearer. Yeah, that's basically it. So the piece of work for the weekend is going to be making sure our FAQ is good. Then doing a bit of work on the growth side, communication side. How do we? Well, so it's this FAQ, then communication, then more risk monitoring. The biggest risks to any prop firm is called account hedging. So it's people trying to game the challenges, which means concretely is they would go like open two accounts on two different addresses, and then so first, like, we go live with one account max per email address, because currently we don't have the in our backend, we don't have the asset monitoring just yet, so we can't disable basically being delta hedged across accounts. Like, so if someone is like, if you want to game a challenge, you can be delta hedged from the same account, so from the same email. So you'll go full long BTC, full short BTC on two different accounts, and one is going to, like, if you have sufficient volatility, one is going to pass. Today we have the tech to detect this and to prevent this, but we don't have the tech to do it on a delta basis. So if someone's expressing a long on BTC and then shorting SOL, we don't have the tech to support this, and so to prevent that, initially we're just enabling one account per user, so we get rid of the cross account hedging. But the other risks is not cross account, but it's multi-account hedging. So basically I have this email, you can say 𝘠𝘢1@gmail.com, which is not my email, and I have 𝘠𝘢2. On 𝘠𝘢1, I purchase an account, go max long BTC. 𝘠𝘢2, I purchase an account, I go short BTC very aggressively. And if we have, like, for example, if we have sufficient volatility, my account is going to pass, and then I'm going to get funded on this account, and then I'd be able to do whatever. And then on the other one, I would just blow up the account, but I've gamed the ecosystem that way. So it's about understanding how can you hedge against this. And that's amongst the work that you don't see that takes a lot of time. On monitoring this, and you're looking at pretty advanced techniques to filter for this. I can't go into the details on exactly what we do, but I'm confident we do. The issue with this is you can have some false positives, and maybe some accounts will be flagged as doing account hedging when they're not doing it. As I said, we want to be fair, and fair to me means transparent. If we were to ban an account for cross-account hedging, it would be shown transparently. We'll have on the dashboard the accounts that's been banned and the reasons for it. Because to me, it's just very fair that if you breach our terms and conditions, you shouldn't be staying on our platform. We inherently what we want to do is find the best traders. That's all we want. And so if you're gaming the ecosystem, we don't want you as part of our ecosystem. And we'll just be very clear with this. It's so advanced stuff. You're basically looking at, you have the usual stuff like the IP, whatever, but it's you're looking at different patterns. Just how someone interacts, just across a very wide spectrum of things. And that's the thing that you don't see as a user, but that takes a lot of time because that's a big risk to our firm. And yeah. So next week's really just about making sure platform is great, and then pressure is going to be on as soon as we have paid customers. Once we have paid, then that will be a lot more strict on how we do product release, because we can't allow for downtime, and the way our infrastructure works is we still have a cold start issue. So that means there will be downtimes whenever we do a product release, which is going to be of 10-20 minutes roughly every day. Well, every day, as much as we're doing it. So we want to make sure we don't alter the user experience so much. So finding the optimal time for it. Do we do it at 3 a.m. CET time? Do we do it at which time are we doing it? Anyway, these are the more specifics. But that's also how I want to do this series. Is my goal is this 0 to 10 million. Well, at 0 now. We'll be at 10 million in the not so distant future. And I want that someone that's want to build something can look at it and be like, yeah, that's how the early days look like, and that's how they thought through this. I'm not doing so much thought leadership because I have nothing to show for it yet. At some point we might do courses on how we want to do things, but basically we will have to stay humble. We are just not there yet. So priority next week is this product release. If you're interested about getting a funded account, you know the metrics that we look at. You can also, if you know me personally, you can just send me a DM, and it's not the best to do it, but basically if you want to be in the first few, you can just, and you know me, and I know you, and you've interacted with me in the past, I let you in, because the reason we're doing it is the very first people that we let in, we want to make sure the experience, we know the experience won't be 100% good. We know there will be things that won't go well, and we just want this to impact our friends more than people that we don't know, because at the end of the day, it's once people pay for a service, we have to deliver the best service possible, and I make sure we deliver the best. Realistically, it's not feasible. Anyway, that was a pretty light in content for that stream. I have to go complete that FAQ now. But I'm happy with the way things are going. We've got the seed round next week as well, 300K. We'll see how this goes. But I'm excited about the 1K free trial users. I think it's gonna be a tough battle. I know it's gonna be tough. When I went into this industry, I know this stuff is competitive. You have a lot of firms. But man, you have so many scammers, it's crazy. My thesis is that there is a room for a very transparent prop firm out there, and we can do things right. That's my whole thesis, is that the model, if you do things right, the model works. If it turns out that you can only make it through scamming people and essentially not honoring payouts and do things in a very shady way. So my assumption is that the rules that are posted on FTMO breakout are actual rules that they stick to, because we'll stick to those rules. If it turns out that they add backdoor rules and flag every payout is just refused, then our model is probably not right. But my core assumption is that it is, and we go full, like basically all in thinking that it is. Yeah, so you have to make assumptions. Today I also record a recap. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be the second recap, and I won't do recap every week. There will be weeks where we don't have much to show for. I would much rather have this be a lot of substance. And yeah, let's go for today. I think was day